Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Barber Motorsports Park. It's Murph, it's Collins, and you know what that means. It is time for Indy Open top split action. We are at the virtual Motorsports Park, and Jacob, it is a hazy virtual Barber this evening.
Yeah, we're on for the docket for some potentially inclement weather, supposedly. I'm not seeing anything on the radar just yet, but there's always a chance.
There is always that chance. We've been told that practice this week, leading up to this, the generated sessions have been anywhere between completely dry with just the haze. They've seen some drizzles, and they've seen anything up to full wet conditions. Right now, that the aforementioned weather, 66 degrees in the air, 80 degrees on the track, but circle that humidity number, Jacob, at 95%, and that is scheduled to rise as we continue to go through the session.
Yeah, we are in the American South after all, down here in Alabama, so it's going to be nice and hot and humid just about any time of the year as long as it's not completely frigid out.
That is most certainly true. The band is mostly all here. It is a single split, and so that introduces all sorts of challenges. Jacob, Logan Edwards, Alan Berteau are here, as is the second place man in points, Caleb Brashear. Those two Luke Mansky Racing Esports machines looking mighty solid. They are the early front runners for that pole position. Rashad Craig, the defending series champion, is here. It is worth mentioning that we are coming close, Jacob, to time on the championship battle. Right now, Alan Berteau leads it with 1,381 points, 1,306 for Brashear, 1,269 Logan Edwards. Our man Ty Keela from Road Racing on 1137. He's got a shot at a podium, and Rashad Craig is fifth, the defending series champion, with 1,101 points. All of those drivers on 8 weeks. It is worth noting, too, Mr. Collins, that the elephant in the room has not yet struck. We've got one more big week to go after this one, don't we?
Yeah, the old Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the oval. That'll probably be the biggest factor for points, given the notoriety that track seems to have.
You know, it most certainly will, and that's going to be the last trip in officials, at least around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, before we get to the car update, which is going to happen in just a couple of weeks. We're going to see the introduction of the hybrid, and that's going to be a ton of fun to learn all of the setup data that all of these teams have lovingly accumulated over a pretty long period of time. Jacob, that's all going to go out the window.
Well, I don't think it's all going to go out the window, but I do think a lot of it is going to have to be kind of reconsidered. I think the notebooks are thick enough where people kind of know how the car generally sits. It's just going to be figuring out how that hybrid kind of impacts the overall balance.
100%, my man there, Mr. Collins. Do want to let everybody know we've got some qualifying times up on the charts right now. Nadi Immel, the quickest around the Barber Motorsports Park, 1 minute 6.801 seconds. It is worth noting the track record here is just about that. Pato O'Ward, the 2021 Honda Grand Prix of Alabama, minute 6.818. So we are slightly, Jacob, slightly faster. Hunter Ingrab goes a lot faster than the track record here. It's also worth noting that this week is going to be unique in that it is likely we may have, Jacob, we may see a two-stopper here today.
Yeah, 60-lap event here tonight. Long way to go around the near 2.4 mile Barber Motorsports Park. So about 120 miles and change of track action here is likely going to need much more than a single set of tires, if not more than one tank of gas.
It most certainly is, and then you have the specter of that fog lurking out there. That fog can most certainly turn into rain. Little did Jacob Collins know that he is going to be a virtual meteorologist this evening. Jacob's going to be our man trying to determine whether or not it's going to rain. And Jacob, if it rains, that throws a monkey wrench into everyone's strategy.
Yeah, this is definitely a track where even just getting around it in the dry in these IR18s is a struggle in its own right. So as soon as you start pooling up the water on it, that's only going to get much, much more challenging, especially going off into turn one.
It most certainly will. Speaking of turns, this track was built in 2002, opened in 2003. It's hosted IndyCars since 2010. Originally constructed as a motorcycle track, George Barber did, but this track is noted for its interesting architecture. There are all sorts of different things around the track, from spiders to mannequins. They have an absolutely fabulous museum here, and who would have thought that this track for Indy cars is extremely popular. Motor racing in the South is very, very popular. We of course all know about Talladega, but this track is more or less in Birmingham proper. There's a massive Honda manufacturing plant not too far from here, and this track is one of the largest draws on the IndyCar circuit. Very popular with fans, and it's pretty popular with the drivers too. It is a massive challenge, Jacob. I believe I count 15 turns across its 2.38 miles, and with that, we are just about ready to go. What thoughts do you have for this one, my man?
Well, I think the biggest thing is going to be looking for passing opportunities, in which there aren't too many here. You've got kind of the front stretch, and then you've got heading off down into the hairpin turn at turn 5, and maybe if you can get alongside before the 7, 8, 9 complex, you can maybe make a move down there, but it's going to be very difficult to get alongside just about anywhere else here.
It most certainly can be. We do have a starting grid, Jacob, and on that starting grid, we've got a pole sitter. Hunter Ingrave is going to be the man leading him to the green. Heartbreak at Mount Panorama for Ingrave. Minute 6, 5:31. That's 3 full tenths quicker, Jacob, than our man on the outside of the front row, Nadi Immel. Starting in row 2, it'll be Rashad Craig. Alongside Logan Edwards, Alan Bruteau, Caleb Brashear will go from 5th and 6th. Thomas Van Kirk, Milan Vogelsang will start 7th and 8th. Jao Pereira and Ty Keela, an unlikely 4th in points for the Oval Specialist. He will roll 10th and 11th. It's going to be Christian Loxon. Nice to see Christian here in a top split. Gerald Burrell, he is the number 2 car. Burrell is. He'll start from 12th. Pinman Gastel 13th. Anthony Heitzman 14th. Frankie Franchica will roll from 15th alongside Ryan Boyd. Then Ronan Glakis, Luis Vasquez, Julio Lasso, and Aaron Zizzo round out your top 20. In 21st, it's going to be Tyler Langenberg, Chris Thompson, and Garrett Lilly will round out your field. The final 3 did not take time, Jacob. You ready, my man?
Yes, sir.
There we go. 60 laps forthcoming from Barber. Remember, we are fairly certain this is going to be a 2-stopper, and that's just for tires. I was talking with some of the drivers earlier today, Jacob. 23 to 25 laps may be the maximum they can do on fuel, and that was talking to a driver who is pretty doggone good at saving fuel.
Yeah, I think this is about the time we see a couple of these longer races with the INDYCAR iRacing Series on hiatus. The drivers like to get a couple in there where the races are a bit longer. They have more pit stops, more opportunities to kind of play the strategy game, and we'll see how that plays out here tonight.
Absolutely. Give a click of the weather. 66 in the air. The track has started to fall 75 degrees now. That's down 5 degrees, Jacob, from when we started qualifying. That humidity is holding steady at 95% as the Porsche pace car leads them away. I can't help but think they like to give us a rain race once. They like to give us a rain race about once a season, Jacob, and I think we've come to where it's going to happen. Week 11 is a good time for it, isn't it?
Yeah, get everybody a reason to come on back. One correction I do want to admit: Hunter's actually starting where he finished last week. He was our winner last time out. I believe it was Logan Edwards.
It was Logan
who crashed in the Bathurst event. Yes.
You're right. So I had that misdiscombobulated. Logan Edwards spun out of the lead, gave the win over to to Hunter Ingrave. It was Hunter's first win in the top split broadcast. Edwards is going to try to atone for that mistake. He's going from fourth today. His teammate Caleb Brashear, who is second in the points, and that Luke Mansky team doing very well. They sit second and third. They're going from fourth and sixth today. And Rashad Craig, you know that Rashad would love a result. He hasn't been having the kind of title defense I don't think that he wanted. But you got to believe that Rashad Craig is most certainly loaded for bear, especially at a road course like Barber, a technical course, and one of those tracks that favors a driver of his experience and setup nuance. The other thing that we're seeing here, Jacob, is there is a choice of tires. About half the field is on the primaries, about half the field's on the alternates. There's no real distinct tire strategy here as we head for the green flag at Barber.
I think ultimately it's going to be who thinks that they can stretch out to an early lead on those red tires. We see Naughty Emmel on the front row and Hunter Engrave taking the opposite of the blacks. So we'll see who ultimately comes out with the gap. I think it's going to be maybe a couple laps on the reds. That's going to be the opportunity for those guys to capitalize. But past that point, it's going to be pretty much catch your uncle for anybody out there able to keep those black tires competitive throughout the opening stint.
There we go. The pace car is going to come away. We're going to get in the flag stand with Barney. He's got the green flag in the air. The cars come off of turn 15. Green flag, and we are racing from Barber. Hunter Ingrave will streak away. The battle is on for second. Naughty Emmel will get through. It's worth noting, and there's trouble in the back. Several cars are off. That's Ryan Boyd, Anthony Heitzman, Chris Thompson, Aaron Zizzo. They're all involved. We continue to race on at the front, and we will get you We'll get you the involvement in that incident at the first corner. We do want to show the first lap, though. Hunter Ingrave leads away from Emmel, Edwards, Craig, and Bruteau has muscled his way into fifth over Logan Edwards. And he goes past Caleb Brashear. He goes past Caleb Brashear now. So Alan Bruteau, a quick leap into that top five.
Yeah, you got to get these passes in nice and early when the cars are close together, because that'll only get more and more difficult as the field starts to stretch out a bit, especially given just how fast and flowing this track is. It's very hard to generate the runs down these straightaways. We've got some considerably longer ones by IndyCar standards, but with how many corners you got to make it through to get to them, it's very difficult to set these passes up. It
most certainly is. You know, if you look at Barber, there's really only a couple of passing opportunities. The left-hander at turn 1 is a good one. You can set up a move at the exit of turn 3 through that kink at turn 4 and the hard left at turn 5. And then really there's not another one, maybe between turns 10 and 11, Jacob. It is very difficult to get a move done. Naughty Emmel, though, he's going to try to get those alternate tires working and get past Hunter Ingrave here for the lead. Do want to point out that none of those cars that were involved in the early fracas, Lilly, Zizzo, Chris Thompson, none of those cars have made their way to pit lane as of yet. So they're all trying to at least limp it back around. But the battle is for the lead. It's Emmel on Ingrave, and this is alternates versus primaries. See if Emmel can get it done.
Yeah, we've noted, at least with the most recent updates to the IndyCar that includes some aerodynamic adjustments, that the alternate tire takes about a full lap to get up to temp to the point where you can make the most of it, and then it has about 3, maybe 4 laps at most tracks in terms of when it's kind of nice and quick. But then past that point, you're going to start seeing guys running on those red tires fall backwards.
You most certainly will. Do want to give a shout out and a welcome to Pamela Ingrave. She's back to watch her boy Hunter. But right now, Naughty Emmel is going to make the dive down into the right-hander at 5, and he is going to go through into the lead. And that's not something that Hunter Ingrave is really in a position to contest, given the superiority in the short term on those alternate tires. Now, Emmel is going to have to switch to the primaries at some point. You have to run both compounds for at least 2 laps. And remember, this is going to be at least, we think, a 2-stopper. And so keep an eye on that. We're also monitoring the weather for rain. Hopefully Jacob has got his hand out the window with a virtual press box waiting on raindrops. But that is your new leader, Nadi Immel over Hunter Ingrav. Logan Edwards is third. He's got Rashad Craig and Alan Brutteau in hot pursuit. There's Craig and Brutteau. That's Luke Mansky over Indy Alliance and Fiercely Ford, third, fourth, and fifth. Caleb Brashear has dropped back 2.3 seconds off of that battle. Brashear, the man in second in points, chasing Brutteau. Brashear is sixth. Mylan Vogelzang, there's Mylan. He is in seventh in the blue and pink machine. Behind him, Thomas Van Kirk runs along, and there's Van Kirk in the Dunder Mifflin colors. João Pereira, that's a paint scheme that reminds me more of an unlimited hydroplane. The Miss Madison was once painted like that than it does an IndyCar. But João Pereira is ninth, and then Ty Keela has all sorts of problems with Gerald Burrell and Christian Loxon, as well as Tyler Langenberg behind him. And Langenberg has made his way all the way up from the back, but Ty Keela has a boatload of trouble coming behind him, Jacob. Off the course he goes, and there goes Burrell.
Yeah, it's really easy in these cars, especially down that back straightaway, to get just a little bit wide off the course, and you lose tons of momentum doing that because you're swinging out really, really wide and then upsetting the car by getting it up over the curb and then having to sail it through the grass. So he's going to be under fire from Loxton down the front straightaway now here as well.
Yes, he is. Tyler Langenberg, Uncle Robin Glakus, all three cars lined up behind Ty Keela right now are on the red alternate tires, and they're going to try to make the move around the outside of turns 2 and 3, and that's where that alternate rubber tells is coming around a medium to high speed corner onto a high speed straight like that between 6 and 7, and then you have the grip to make the move through the chicane 7A, 7B, 8, 8A, and down through turn number 9, and then of course the quick flick is coming, Jacob.
Yeah, not uncommon at the little, I guess we could call that a downhill chicane there. It's not uncommon to see guys lock up the front tires heading down the hill there. You sometimes even see them completely off the ground and then having to bounce them, especially that right front, back onto the ground as they navigate that very, very tricky chicane there.
Oh, you're 100% right, Jacob. That's something that I always do through there. Of course, as an unskilled road racer, I'm lucky if I get through 9 and 10 at Barber, keeping the car on the road. Ty Keela did not keep it on the road. Langenberg and Anglakis will go through. Ty Keela, big problems getting through turn 15. He'll go through turn 1. He is gone. Ty Keela would be the story so far in this race. Ty started in 10th. He has gone back to 14th. He's having all sorts of issues here at the start. So we'll keep an eye on Ty Keela, see if he's able to right the ship. But he's down 4 spots. We're going to head back up to the battle for third, fourth, and fifth. You're looking at Rashawn Craig. He has got Logan Edwards in the distance. He's got Alan Brutteau right behind him, and this would be a great time, Jacob, to get a ride around Barber just to kind of show the fans what we're looking at.
Yeah, you head down the nice, relatively long front straightaway here. This is arguably the best opportunity to get alongside cars, but this first turn here makes it very difficult to put cars side by side, so you almost want to try to make that pass before you even get there.
It is. Now this is a long right-hander, turns 2 and 3. You've got a quick little kink there through 4. You don't lift, hard on the brakes into 5, and this is one of the better passing zones right here.
Yeah, every single one of these corners is very, very tight, and you got to be very patient with the throttle application. Notice a lot of guys kind of waiting to really commit to nailing that throttle pedal down through each and every one of these corners.
Through the chicane, that downhill chicane, and you can kind of see how challenging it is for these drivers. They also clobber those curves, Jacob, as they go through that 7-8 complex. Now through 9 and 10, that's another chicane. Logan Edwards very loose coming through there. And already we're back toward the pit entrance. Around turn 14, there's 15, and we're back. That's a lap at Barber. The stopwatch on Rashad Craig, a minute 8, 466. Right now, that's about 4/10 off of Nadi Immel, and we've got to wonder, when do you think the tire switch is going to happen in the primary tires become faster?
I'd imagine we might be pretty close, if not already there. I think Barber being as short as it is kind of helps a little bit for the alternate tire to maybe stretch its legs a bit longer. But at the same time, you've got those pretty heavy braking zones pretty much all around this track, which means that you're putting those tires under a heavy load in a short distance trying to get the cars wound up to make it through all 16 corners here.
You most certainly are. If we're looking at pure time, Hunter Ingrave is still about a 10.5 off of Nadi Immel, but that gap is starting to close. We'll keep you apprised of the times, but the tire switchover may be getting close. Now for Alan Berteau, he needs to get past Rashad Craig, and Logan Edwards now. He cannot afford to continue to wait, because if it's truly a two-stopper, you know that those two are going to run it dry, and then they're going to run 2 short stints on the alternate tires. Once they do that, they may be gone from Alan Berteau. As we see a car slow, that is Chris Thompson. He was involved in the first lap fracas. Thompson gets out of the way. Berteau to the inside of Rashad Craig. That's around turn number 5. Down toward the chicane they go. Berteau is now 4th.
Yeah, and that last time by, Engrave was about 4/10 faster than Immel the last time around. But I want to say that Immel might have been impeded by a car late in the lap, so we'll see this time around if maybe that difference is either closer or if that truly is the alternate tire finally starting to give way.
And that may have been the car of Chris Thompson. Thompson was trying to get out of the way of the leaders and did a great job of moving out of the way of the battle for 3rd. This is Edwards leading Berteau, leading Rashad Craig. Alan Berteau on the alternates, but he wants to get through so very badly, Jacob.
Yeah, you got to make these passes early because it's a lot harder for people to pass you back once you're kind of there, especially given that so many of these corners are kind of single lane through them, and you can park it and put yourself basically in a conga line around here. Think kind of similar to Monaco in some ways, where you put your car in the right spot and nobody can really do anything about it.
You know, to be fair though, Jacob, at Monte Carlo, you don't have to worry about hitting a mannequin that falls off of a bridge as you do at Barber. So there's always that. We're going past the museum. If you haven't ever been to the collection hall at Barber Motorsports Park, do it. It is probably the second best racing museum in the United States after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. Not nearly as famous, but almost as good, Jacob. That's an awesome facility if you ever get a chance to go.
It's always cool to have more things to do at the racetrack, because the racetrack's fun enough as it is.
It most certainly is. Caleb Brashear has begun to stretch it out, but stretch it out over Alan Berteau. The tire story has begun to tell. Edwards and Berteau now the same speed, but not the same speed as this man, Hunter Ingrave. He has reeled back in Nadi Immel 0.8 of a second that last time through. Not only that, Immel is approaching the cars of Aaron Zizzo as well as Garrett Lilly, Luis Vasquez. They're not that far up the road, Jacob. The battle for the lead, though, it's about to be on.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of starting to see what some of these guys might be thinking for tire strategy, just given how that alternate tire is running, especially if, the fuel window is what it is. We were saying, around 23, 24 laps. That would put it where you have to run about a dozen or so laps on that red tire. So you might see, the Engraves and other guys on the primary tire run 2 full stints on the black tire and then save those alternates for the short one at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's probably the strat. And so you may be looking at Nadi Immel getting ready to come back in as you're on board with Ingrave, and Ingrave has reeled Nadi Immel all the way in. And watch the wheel work on that road racing entry of Hunter Ingrave as he tries to chase down Nadi Immel, and they've got lap traffic now, and that's going to come into play. That's Aaron Zizzo directly in front of Nadi Immel.
And that's the thing with having these longer races too. Even with the kind of the early attrition, you're going to have lap traffic come in and play a factor for these guys at the front. Zizzo's going to get out of the way here, fortunately, and these drivers can continue to duke it out here. But that does play a factor. You can reach lap traffic at very inopportune times, and that can alter some outcomes.
You most certainly can. The next car up the road is going to be Garrett Lilly. Lilly is about 5 seconds a lap off the pace, so they should catch him within the next couple of laps. And you would think, given, you think about working the thing backwards now, if you can go, 23 laps, that's 23:46. Nadi Immel has got to be about at the end of his string on these alternate tires. But there's always that specter of rain, Jacob. What's the radar looking like for us tonight?
Well, I'm not seeing anything just yet. We're still sitting on 0% all the way until about 2 hours from now. But we'll see if that changes. That could change just as fast with the 10-mile-an-hour wind we got coming from the south.
It most certainly can. Do want to welcome JTSF #1 into the chat. He's cheering on Nadi Immel. Nadi Immel is leading this one, and he has now caught the car of Ty Keela. That is Ty up there, and he is having a rough day. I would assume that Ty is going to move out of the way in that road car and let these leaders go at it. Although you got to remember, that's a Rogue Racing entry chasing down the leader. Ty Keela keeps his foot in it, keeps the car in the groove, and now he dives off into the sand trap, but Hunter Ingrab is all over the back. Hunter Ingrab is now all over the back of Nadi Immel. Do want to thank everybody. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1. We have just gone over, Jacob, 1,500 subscribers, and that's something for me that is almost impossible to fathom. When Gary Godso and I first went live just about 18 months ago, that's awfully hard for me to think of that we've got 1,800 or 1,500 subscribers. But do want to thank everybody out there for doing it. If you haven't subscribed to P1, by all means, please do and get notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. It's a doubleheader tonight. Immediately following this, at 8:30, we're going to have it's 9 o'clock, right, Jacob? Not 8:30.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, we're going to have the Indy Next Series. It's a double dose of Barber, so the Indy Next cars will be live from Barber as well. And then tomorrow, 7:15 Eastern, it's the Indy Fixed Oval Series, followed immediately thereafter at 8:30 by the Indy Next cars, and they will be all night from Kansas. The leagues, well, we've got those off. There's no race Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday here at P1. Owing to the Thanksgiving holiday, that means that after tomorrow night's top split races, the next race will be the Season 4 finale, and that's going to be live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway right here next week at 7 Eastern Time. Watching Hunter Ingrab, we're on the roll hoop, and he is all over the backside of Nadi Immel for this lead, Jacob.
Yeah, you've got to imagine this is coming down to when and not if he can make this pass. But we'll see if that even happens before the pit cycle is. We're getting ever closer as we're going to work on to lap 16 before too long here.
There you go. Nadi Immel goes way wide. Hunter Ingrab moves right back up on the gearbox as they head down the main straight. You've got to wonder if maybe Ingrab is thinking, look, I'm just going to wait him out here. He's bound to pit eventually, but the longer that Immel is able to stay out in the lead on those alternate tires, the better it is for his overall strategy, Jacob.
Well, I think the big thing here, too, is if he doesn't have to put himself at risk of making a move and maybe it not sticking, he can kind of just ride here and let the strategy do the work for him.
You most certainly can. And, of course, once those league races do resume and they kind of go on hiatus, Jacob, during the holiday season. Once they do resume in January, it's going to be a packed schedule. We're going to have the top split races on Monday nights. We're going to add the triple header in with the Internet Sim Racing Association. Mike Rigney's group is going to be back. On Monday nights. We've got some interesting things working for a nightcap on Tuesday. That's going to be a ton of fun. Wednesday, of course, the Horizon INDYCAR Series and the Formula Indy Series both roll. Thursday nights, beginning in February, you're going to have the AMA back with the Grand National Series, and then Friday night, the Truck Series. It's going to get real busy after that holiday lull. Hunter Ingrave has got alongside now. Is he going to be able to pull off the move?
He got awfully close on the attenuator coming through turn 5 there. We'll see if he just opts to continue biding his time here, but like we've mentioned, I think it's going to be just a game of patience here if he's willing to just wait and let the strategy do the passing for him.
He's nearly made the move on Naughty Immel, but he hasn't quite made it happen. And look, it's almost as if Hunter Ingrave is committed to waiting for Immel to make a mistake. He doesn't want to wait too much longer, though, as they head through turns 14 and 15. Hunter Ingrave nearly made a mistake himself. Did you see the opposite lock on that car, Jacob?
Yeah, that was a full-on power slide through 14 and 15 there, and he held on to it to stay basically just as close as he did when that slide started.
There he goes, and I think he might have him through turn three here. Hunter Ingrave right up on the gearbox, but he doesn't pull the move going through the exit of turn 3 through turn 4. They're going to make the long left-hander at turn number 5. Ingrave, though, continues to almost be content to ride behind Naughty Immel, and this is backing those cars up. You see in the background Logan Edwards, Alan Berteau, and Rashad Craig. They've started to close the gap to this front duo.
I think the big thing here is they've got the time to kind of play with up at the front here. You know, it's around 3 seconds back to Edwards and Berteau and Craig. They're all within about a second of one another. But, 3 seconds around this place is a good bit of time to play with, given just how little lap time there is to be made around here. Hunter Ingrave looking wide once more.
Did go back to show the second 3. These are really the only battles that are contested on the racing surface. Everybody else has more than a second between them until you get back to Pim Bim Gastel and Fast Frankie Franchica. They're duking it out for 14th and 15th. Everybody else has quite a bit of a gap out there. It is worth noting Christian Loxon, Ty Keela have made pit stops already. They have already changed their compounds. Loxon goes on to the primary tires. Ty gets himself a fresh set of red alternates, and that's already begun. Those cars came in 3 and 6 laps ago, respectively. So already the chess moves are starting, Jacob. But I gotta believe Hunter Ingrave. If you're Ingrave, how much do you start turning up the pressure knowing that you have a distinct advantage on the tires?
Well, I think some of it, too, is just risk versus reward, too, right? As we've seen, he's gotten very, very sideways through that 14-15 complex a couple times now. So I think some of it's just he wants to keep the car pointed the right direction and stay really close. So when that pit cycle does come around, he can maybe take advantage of his entry and exit to try to make that pass without having to risk anything more on the track.
It is, and you can visibly see the grip difference, especially going through turn 3 between Immel and Ingrave. Ingrave going to pull it out wide one more time, but just not enough to get around Naughty Immel. Now, it is worth noting here, fans, that there has been a distinct, and I do mean distinct, difference in usage on the push-to-pass button. You get 200 seconds. Naughty Immel has burned away 62 of those, and he is on the button now, trying everything he can to hold off Hunter Ingrave. Ingrave has yet to touch the button, and that could play big when it comes to the end of this race. Logan Edwards, 169 seconds. Alan Berteau, 195. Rashad Craig, 190. And Caleb Brashear in 6th. He has not touched the button at all, just like second place Hunter Ingrave. And will that be the move, Jacob? Saving the push to pass for that last 10-lap dash on the alternate tires, assuming it doesn't rain, as we watch Nadi Immel work lap 21 of 60.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is that we talk about it more on ovals, but with as close as Hunter Engrave's been running to Immel ahead, he might be able to kind of just lift and coast, maybe grab the clutch a little bit and save a little bit more gas, too.
Well, we've got a car around.
We got a car around.
We've got a car around. That's Julio Lasso, spun right in front of the leaders. Lasso gets it off the racing surface. Julio Lasso is still backwards, still going the wrong way. Let's see if he can get that thing flipped around. He does, but a big moment for Julio Lasso. And let's go back in time. We'll get the Wayback Machine out and see what's happened to Julio Lasso. He is out right in front of Christian Loxon. Loxon is on the fresh tires, having already stopped once. Lasso coming through turn number 1, and he just lit the rear tires up pretty big. And there come your leaders. Bit of a heart attack moment. Lasso thankfully pulls it off into the grass, but that could have been big, Jacob.
And we've got our first couple leaders down the pit lane as well, with Immel and Berteau opting to take their trip down the pit lane here.
They most certainly are. Nadi Immel is coming in. He is, of course, on the alternate tires. He made it 22 laps. His car is going to go up. You've got Alan Berteau in the background. And let's see what they choose to do. Immel is going on the black primary tires, as is Alan Berteau. So they get away 22 of 60 complete. That's going to hand the lead to this man, Hunter Engrave, and he has got a 2.8 second advantage over Logan Edwards, and then it's another 11 seconds back to Caleb Brashear. Rashad Craig has also now stopped, so he came into the pit lane. Rashad Craig, the defending series champion, he'll exit the pits on the alternate tires in the 8th position. I am surprised, Jacob, that the alternates have held up as well as they have.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with how you kind of manage your tire, too, right? You know, we saw Immel kind of get out to a solid gap ahead of Engrave and then roll back, but Engrave couldn't really pass him, so he was able to kind of just ride his pace, maybe drive alternate lines a bit more defensively through the corners to hold on to that position. But I think that could play a lot of big factors as well, because the further up in the field you are, it seems the easier it is to kind of to work your pace to that advantage and just put your car in the right spot.
Most certainly does. It is worth noting, Berteau came out right behind Nadi Immel. Alan Berteau is within striking distance of Immel, less than a second. So give a call out to Alan Berteau. He made an excellent in and out lap and made big time on the race. The former race leader. Leading it right now is Hunter Engrave. But this could be kind of one of the stories within the race. Nadi Immel didn't have a very good exchange on pit road. Alan Berteau did.
Well, I think a big part of that, we might have kind of missed it on their entry to the pit lane, is but I think Christian Loxon was just ahead of Immel, and Immel had to basically lock the whole car up to avoid hitting Loxon into the pit access road there. So that could play a huge factor, too. Berteau could have had his entrance completely uninterrupted and been able to lunge much, much closer, and that might be all it takes.
You know, most certainly could. However, Alan Berteau is closing the gap, and they've got lap traffic they're dealing with. I believe that's Aaron Zizzo out to what would be driver's left, and that's allowed the green and black machine, the highlighter green and black machine of Rashad Craig, to close up on the back of Berteau and Immel. Now, this is a tire differential, too. Rashad Craig is on the alternates. These two are on the primary. So Rashad Craig, he wants to get by Immel and Berteau while he wants to get by them while the getting's good. And Rashad Craig has begun using his push to pass in an attempt to get past Berteau and Immel.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing here too, right? Is we're going to see maybe a couple guys take that roll of the dice, if you will, and take those alternate tires in the middle portion of this race, try to gain the track position, and then just kind of use the fact that they're already
up. It gets it loose and gets it out on the grass. I don't think he hit anything though, Jacob. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, and all that while Engrave came down the pit lane and back out onto the track. He'll put on the red alternate tires, so maybe he's going to try to stretch his legs at the front of the field here.
Yeah, there you see the incident for Logan Edwards. just as we suspected, kind of overran the tires just a little bit, and out into the Tules he goes. Tough break for Logan Edwards, and he's going to get passed by a whole host of cars, but there he is. He still runs along in 5th, so all is not lost. The battle remains these three. Rashad Craig trying to get past Alan Bruteau and Nadi Immel. That has promoted Immel to 2nd, Bruteau to 3rd, Craig to 4th. Hunter Ingrave, though, in that entire deal, wound up with a 6.5 second lead, watching Rashad Craig try to get past Alan Bruteau.
And that lead for Engrave is likely to stretch out as these alternates come up, but we'll start to watch it maybe potentially decrease once we get a bit deeper into the run here. And that's going to be ultimately how this battle is going to have to play out, is does Engrave maybe take another gamble and run the alternates again, or does he go back to the primary tire?
Well, again, I think these drivers learned. They saw Nadi Immel go to the 22 laps. I'm no mathematician, but that seems to me like you might be able to make them go at least 20. Ingrave was not able to get past Nadi Immel on the road. He did so via the pit stop strategy. It's worth noting Rashad Craig on the red alternate tires has not been able to get through Alan Bruteau or Nadi Immel either, and that would be a car that we would anticipate the tire differential would matter a pretty good amount too. That's a good car. That's your defending champion. But he hasn't been able to make the move on Alan Bruteau.
I think that almost has to do with testament of how much this track makes it very, very difficult to make passes at all, tire advantage or otherwise.
It most certainly may be. Rashad Craig on the push to pass. He is now using the button, trying to get through Alan Bruteau. He runs really wide, and he just may give up a position there to Logan Edwards. Meanwhile, it's a Sunday drive for this man. Hunter Ingrave now out to an 8-second lead, Jacob.
Yeah, we figure that's going to stretch the opening couple laps. He's on these red tires, right?
He's got a car off in front. Whew, that was Frisky Frankie, and that has to be a heart attack-inducing moment. Now he's got Ty Keela in front of him. Now, that's a teammate. I would assume Ty would let Hunter Ingrave go. They are in the Discord together, of course. You would assume that would happen. And then the next car up the road is Anthony Heitzma, about 10 seconds away from Ty. But that has to be unnerving. You see a car not quite on the racing line, but not really quite off of it, looking through Hunter Ingrave's left eyeball, Jacob.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you learn, especially a lot of these guys near the front of the field, is if they've been in enough races, they know how to kind of manage that unpredictability and put themselves in spots where they can get through it as fast as they can and reduce the risk that car may come across and take them out of contention here.
And that is something that comes from experience. You are correct. This is a position that Ty Keela is not used to, being put a lap down. It's not something that we normally see from him in the Tuesday night top splits, but there it goes. Hunter Ingrave puts Ty Keela one lap down. So there are, by my count, Jacob, now 12 cars remaining on the lead lap. Anthony Heitzma is the next up on the hit parade. The best battle, though, Nadi Immel, Alan Bruteau, Rashad Craig, and Logan Edwards. They've formed the conga line, and they've got some lap traffic in front of him. That's Tyler Langenberg. Langenberg is going to move aside. I believe that wasn't Langenberg, rather. That might have been Frisky Frankie. My goodness, I can't keep the yellow and gold car straight, Jacob.
People just got to stop picking such bright, vibrant colors, Mark.
That's very true, but this is a fight now for second. Nadi Immel has got the series points leader, the defending champion, and P2 in the points, as Keith Jackson would say, right up the tailpipes.
And all this is Engrave continues to stretch that lead. You almost have to wonder if that advantage is going to be something that can be even overcome at this stage.
Well, it's gonna have to have some help, and it's not helping that Nadi Immel has lap traffic in front of him. Immel gets very sideways going through turn 14. That's going to allow Berteau to close up right behind him. The problem is that you've got 2 lap cars right there. Berteau, he's going to try to make the move to the outside going through turn number 1. Berteau goes off. Rashad Craig and Logan Edwards are going to try to go through, and there's contact. Contact between Logan Edwards and Alan Berteau. Big contact. Edwards goes for a slide. Alan Berteau lost the front wing. It was forgiven. But confrontations have happened here at Barber. Here we go, down into turn 1. That's Berteau to the outside. He's going to try to make the move on Nadi Immel. He gets forced wide. He gets onto the grass. He comes back into a spot that's occupied by Logan Edwards. Edwards takes the spin. He does not beach the car, thankfully. He'll continue on the grass. The front wing is forgiven for Alan Berteau, but there has to be some damage to that number 3 of Alan Berteau. Edwards will go back to 4th, so no real positions lost, just track position for those 2 cars as the lap machines get out of the way. Berteau resumes his pursuit of Rashad Craig, but Craig was the big winner there because now he's right on the back of Nadi Immel.
Yeah, we kind of talked about how hard it is to set passes up into turn number 1. There's just not a lot of real estate once the corner gets there, and with how wide these Indy cars are, it's not perfect to try to put them side by side, especially if the track kind of falls away from you.
Yeah, it's not. It's a very difficult place to pass. It's a very high commitment corner anyway, and it almost funnels down into one lane on exit, and then you've got the immediate switchback and the hard corner coming after it at 3 and 4 at turn 3, that big sweeper. And so it's a difficult place to run 2x2. Logan Edwards and Alan Berteau, I think, have learned that lesson. We're watching the battle for second because Hunter Ingrav has now built a 13-second lead over this trio of Immel, Craig, and Berteau. Logan Edwards is 3.5 seconds back of this, and then Caleb Brashear runs a further 4.5 seconds behind his teammate Edwards. That's 5th and 6th for the Luke Mansky Racing Esports team. We do want to thank everybody for tuning in to P1. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, be notified of all future broadcasts. There is a, if you like the coverage and respect the stream, there's a GoFundMe. These broadcasts are not free. They do require time, money, and resources. And so if you feel like doing so, there's a link for the GoFundMe for the year in the broadcast description. And do want to remind everybody that the officials are not all we do here at P1. We've got a car blinking, and that is Nadi Immel as they go past Aikila. You've also, and I realize we're in a lull right now, but Jacob, once the new year gets rolling, we're going to get cranking up with quite a few broadcasts. The Formula Indy Series is running intermittently on Wednesday nights. They are back in action on December 3rd, Mexico City. They also run December 17th at Brands Hatch. Beginning in the new year, you'll have the Horizon INDYCAR Series on Wednesday night. Beginning in February, you've got the AMA Thursday and Friday night. We do have a big announcement coming on Tuesday. And then the big one, the Internet Sim Racing Association, that's going to take place on Monday night as part of a triple header, Jacob. So if you want to watch some sim racing, we've got you covered. Closing out 2025 and into 2026. And how unnerving does this have to be for Rashad Craig? Nadi Immel is strobing in front of him.
Well, for those experienced in the world... Oh, we got a car off.
That is a lapped machine. That appears to be Julio Lasso there. No, it's not Lasso. That might have been Garrett Lilly. But how unnerving is it to have Nadi Immel strobing in front of you if you're Rashad Craig?
I don't know if it's so much unnerving as if it's just difficult to know where to put your car at that point, right? As you watch the car kind of bounce back and forth, phasing through reality, if you will, and it's hard to know just how close you can get to it before something bad happens.
Well, and you know, there are other effects from that, right? The biggest one for me You know, if you're used to, as an oval racer, and maybe this isn't so much as a big deal on road, as we work through the back half of this second stint here, Jacob, is when that car's there, you get dirty air, you get a draft. When it's not there, you don't get dirty air, you don't get a draft. And so that can really upset both the conga line. It's going to hurt Rashad Craig as he falls under attack from Alan Ruteau. When that car disappears, so does the draft. But it also changes the handling from corner to corner and from entry to middle to exit of each corner as it strobes in front of you.
I think it's helpful here that the gaps have kind of built themselves back out. It's a lot different on the ovals, especially when you're basically running, you know, tail to rear every single lap, inches apart from each other. When you get a bit more spread out on the road courses, it's a lot more manageable.
Oh, for certain, sure. We're watching Rashad Craig as he continues to do battle with Nadi Immel. Do want to thank Whiplash Simcams for these amazing shots of the Barber Motorsports Park. Do want to thank everybody tuning in. If you haven't already done it, again, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1. We know we're kind of in a lull for the holidays, but don't let that dissuade you. 2026 is coming, and the winter season is going to be fantastic. I can't wait, Jacob. I can't wait for what may be happening on Tuesday night. That's something near and dear to my heart. So I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, but Gary and I are super excited for what may be coming.
Get a big show every night of the week.
Not only that, but you've got the Hoosier 500, you've got the qualifications, the practices for that race coming. Rashad Craig finally dives to the inside of Nadi Immel, and Craig has passed the blinking car of Immel. And let's see if Bruteau is able to do the same. You know they'd be desperate to get by, and finally Bruteau and Craig do pass the blinking machine of Nadi Immel, so he has gone back to fourth. So let's reset the field for you. It's going to be this man, Hunter Ingrav, out to a 14.7 second lead. He has waved adios, amigos. Hunter Ingrav is putting the hammer down again, nearly 15 seconds over Alan Bruteau and Rashad Craig and Alan Bruteau. We've got Paula Scory in the house. Clindy's mom is cheering on her rogue racing team, of course. Nadi Immel is back to fourth. The Luke Mansky car of Logan Edwards, as we've got a car sideways in the background there. That's Aaron Zizzo, I believe, one more time. Garrett Lilly may have also been involved in that, but Logan Edwards is fifth. Caleb Brashear soldiers along in sixth for Luke Bansky. Mylan Vogelzang, and there he is seventh. Thomas Van Kirk runs in eighth in the Dunder Mifflin car. Gerald Burrell is ninth. There's Burrell. And in the 10th spot, Tyler Langenberg. Give a shout out to Langenberg. He might be the permanent holder of the LGN Driver of the Race Award. Most positions made up. He started 21st, did not set a qualifying time. He's running 10th. Jacob, what would this guy do if he ever did set a qualifying time?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him finish further up the field. That's for certain.
No, I wouldn't either. Tyler Langenberg with a tremendous run. Again, 21st to 10th. We'll kind of continue to go through the field here just to make sure we show everybody and give them their due. There's Uncle Rob Unglakis. He is 11th, and that's a good run. Or Uncle Rob, he may sneak into the top 10 here, Jacob. 11th for Robin Glakis. Anthony Heitzma is 12th in the number 11. There's Heitzma. Fast Frankie Franchica. There's Frankie. He is 13th in the number 15 Repsol Honda livery. He's got Ty Keela right behind him. Keela, though, is coming in the pit lane, and this might be Ty's final stop. Let's see if he straps on the primary tires and tries to go the distance from here, Jacob.
You'd have to imagine you don't want to have to take another trip that everybody else is likely going to dodge out on, so I'd imagine that's going to be the case here.
You most certainly would. There's Ty. He pulls it into the pit lane. The car is going to go up on jacks for the Rogue Racing entry. Green, silver, and black for Ty, and he put the alternates back on. Interesting choice, Jacob. but it's the Reds for Ty Keela. Behind Fast Freddy Franchica, that's João Pereira in the number 20 machine. And again, that paint scheme never been run on an IndyCar. It reminds me more of the Miss Madison Unlimited hydroplane in the early 90s. Terry Labonte, of course, ran it briefly in the stock cars. Never seen it on an IndyCar, but the Tony the Tiger deal looks pretty good there, Jacob.
It's a classic for sure.
It most certainly is. Speaking of classics, there's Christian Loxon. Many of you may know him from his exploits at the Sim Gaming Expo. He ran very, very well there. He is currently 15th, and that's an improvement over the car number 18. So good deal for Loxon. Ryan Boyd is sans half a front wing in the black number 19, but he soldiers along in 16th. We just talked about Ty Keela. That leaves us with Garrett Lilly. Lilly in the 23 is 2 laps down in 18th. Aaron Zizzo. And there's Aaron. He runs along 19th. He is 3 laps in arrears. Pim Van Gastel is 3 laps down. He has just been on the pit lane for 2 minutes 17 seconds under repair. So Pim Van Gastel back out onto the course. Julio Lasso, he's 11 laps back, and he has been on the pit lane quite a bit as you see him in the Team VSR machine go off the course into the sand trap, and he will tow. So Julio Lasso has now ejected from the server. Lasso will be credited 21st. Luis Vasquez and Chris Thompson, they are out of the server as well, 22nd and 23rd. The battle at the front has more or less resolved itself in that Logan Edwards and Nadi Immel have now lost the train of Brito and Craig. Craig runs second, Alan Brito third. Hunter Ingrave is still stretching this advantage, although Rashad Craig, interesting to note, slightly faster that last time through, Jacob.
Well, you got to imagine at some point that you're going to push the tire a little too far, and I think the further up the field you are, the more likely you are to do that because there's not anybody really holding you up.
There's not. We are in the window to make the final stop should you choose to do it. We did talk a lot about rain at the beginning of this. The weather is still holding steady. The track temperature continues to drop, now down to 74, but we have not yet seen the raindrops, Jacob.
No, and it doesn't look like we're going to, unfortunately, as much as many would like to see them. But it seems we're gonna stick in the dry here with a very, very heavy cloud cover.
We most certainly do appear to be headed that way. Working lap 41 of 60. Ingrave leads it over these two. This is the best battle on the track, Jacob. All the other cars, as you can see, very, very separated. The next battle for position is between Fast Frankie Franchica and João Pereira. And here they are. This is 13th and 14th as they run on the race course. Other than that, P2 and P3 are pretty much it. Gerald Burrell, Thomas Van Kirk, they have found each other now. Nadi Immel has slid back to the 8th spot, and he has now been lapped, Jacob. So there have got to be some problems on the Nadi Immel machine. But he is now a lap down, and he's on the pit lane. Again, showing the battle between Burrell and Thomas Van Kirk. And that's made even more interesting by the fact that they've got the leader right behind him. And these two are in a dogfight for position. Burrell goes to the inside of Van Kirk. Ingrave will follow suit. And now Ingrave has got to race the car of Gerald Burrell. And Burrell does not want to go a lap down, Jacob.
It's a point of personal pride, if nothing else, but I feel like at this rate, if he wants to likely maintain as much track position as he can, I think he's going to want to let Ingrave on through, keep the show from slowing down.
Well, the other thing is sometimes you get the leader behind you, you start racing a lot harder, you start going faster. Maybe he thinks he can use Ingrave, and Ingrave sliding, but he saves it off in the pit lane. Sailed Gerald Burrell. That'll give Ingrave some clear track, but that was a gnarly moment, Jacob.
Yeah, we saw Engrave nearly go off the track through the chicane at the end of the backstretch there, and then just continued to push the tire real hard on the inside lane of the track, and ultimately it eventually just broke traction. Fortunately, able to hold on to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Engrave come down the pit lane here, slap on his final set of tires, and get back out there to hopefully lead to the end of this race.
Yeah, and it's worth noting again, he lost a ton of time there, Jacob. Rashad Craig has now closed this down to 12 seconds. And Rashad Craig, remember, he ran the primary tires to start this thing. Rashad Craig may be in a situation where he can say, look, I'm going to take partial fuel. I'm going to put the alternates on, and I'm going to go and get the young sensation Hunter Ingrave. If we call Indy Kirkenbauer, if Gary Gonzo calls Indy the prodigy on the ovals, Hunter Ingrave may be that for road racing on the road courses. He got his taste of the victory champagne last week. He's trying to go 2 for 2, Jacob.
Not a bad time to do it.
No, it is not. Ingrave will lead it. Rashad Craig is his nearest pursuer. Craig is coming, but not as quickly as he would like. Just a couple of tenths that last lap. Rashad Craig also has the unfortunate happenstance of having Robin Glakis right in front of him, and he has got a tail full, Jacob, of that man, Alan Bruteau.
Well, here's the thing, too, right, is we've seen Engrave already make it through this traffic, and he doesn't have to fight anybody for position right now. We see Glakis go off through 5 there, and Rashad and Bruteau on through. But that makes a difference as well, right? If you've got a car maybe right behind you, you have to maybe make some different considerations than if you're basically in uninterrupted airspace, as Engrave is at the front of the field.
Absolutely, Jacob. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's going to come down to how you work traffic. Hunter Ingrave, it's going to be not making any mistakes. We nearly saw him make one through turn 15 there. Locked the right front up, nearly got the car out of shape. Rashad Craig, he's coming down pit road, and I would almost have to guarantee that this is going to be for alternates and a short tank of fuel to finish this race. Excuse me.
That would be what I would think the expectation would be, especially given that this stint was about as maximized as the first one, and we saw guys do 20 laps on them. What's 15 or 16?
Well, not only that, but it gives you the opportunity to need 8 laps less on fuel. Now, I went to Ball State, and I am no mathematician, Jacob. But if I don't have to take 8 laps of fuel, that's 6 gallons worth of ethanol, and that can have a huge effect on the speed of these cars. Rashad Craig down and away. He spent 30.5 seconds on the pit lane, 8.1 seconds in the box, and he comes out 7.5 seconds nearly ahead of Logan Edwards. Meanwhile, the eyes now have to be on this man, Hunter Ingrave, as he pulls his car down pit road. And I would assume that Hunter is going to do exactly the same thing as Rashad Craig. Short fuel, alternate tires.
Or you'd have to think nobody's going to take a gamble at this stage.
Or has he already run the primaries?
Hunter ran the primaries on the opening stint.
Okay, so he would be going back to the alternates. No rain. There's Ingrave. The short stop is complete. 8.5 seconds in the box. 30.8 on the pit lane. He is out and away. And that means that the last of the leading trio to make his way down pit road, that would be Alan Bruteau. He is currently on the primary tires. This is his primary run. He's going to make it 25 laps. And I would assume he is due to pit at any time, Jacob, as he pulls up on the back of Christian Loxon.
Yeah, and the big thing that we'll have to see here is how close do Craig and Bruteau emerge behind Engrave? Is there going to be a potential ability to mount that charge back up to him in the late stages here?
We'll see Ingrave waiting on him to make his stop. He's got Christian Loxon in front of him, and he dives it onto the pit lane. And again, I would have to almost guarantee this is going to be alternate tires and a very short fuel tank. He should only need he should
roughly
only
2/3 of a tank.
Yeah, he should only need 11 gallons of fuel would get him home pretty handsomely, and that's about the length of time it takes to change the Firestones. He is down 8.2 seconds. Away he goes. Rashad Craig did have the quicker of the pit stops. It is worth noting that Brito gets out on the road ahead of Rashad Craig, but this is going to be interesting now because Craig has the hot, sticky alternates. Alan Brito does not. And it takes, as you said earlier, it takes a lap to get those things up to temperature. Can Rashad Craig use that advantage to go back to second place, or is he too far away, Jacob?
Well, I think he might be just close enough to get to Brito, but I think it's just going to be so hard to pass. Brito runs wide through the chicane here, though, so that might give Craig a better opportunity to roll on in here.
It most certainly does. He bit a huge chunk out of that. It was a second and a half. When Brito came off the pit lane, it's down to half a second, and Rashad Craig is now within 0.2. He is right on the back of the Fiercely Ford machine as we head into... Whoa, they're in trouble! Contact! Brito spins. Craig spins. The rear wing is gone off of Alan Brito. That's going to let Logan Edwards through. Rashad Craig gets back on the road. The front wing forgiven on Rashad Craig. Alan Brito is seriously wounded here. The rear wing is gone and he spins again.
Yeah, it looks like Brito may be tracking over to try to make that turn 16 corner, and Rashad was basically just leaving his car pointed straight, and the two came together, rounding that final corner, sending them both off into the sand trap. Yeah,
here we are, and this is going to tell the tale. It's from the blimp. Alan Brito, the Fiercely Ford machine in front. The Indy Alliance car of Rashad Craig right behind him. Brito, you're going to see contact right front of Craig to left front of Brito, and that's Brito. Hey, that's awfully difficult, Jacob. Brito tracking back. Rashad Craig was there. We'll give it one more from the blimp and let the fans decide.
It's so tricky to judge the closing speeds of cars at a track where the straights are, like, especially that straight in particular, is just so short. It's really hard to tell just how close the cars are to you.
It most certainly is. That's going to leave Logan Edwards back into second. Rashad Craig is now third. And the Sim Gaming Expo king, Caleb Brashear, he's got the nightlight burning, Jacob. He's up to fourth.
Not a bad place to be, all things considered.
It is not. So Caleb Brashear, and championship implications for Alan Brito also. Brito is on the pit lane under significant repair. Can Rashad Craig nurse his car home? Is there damage to the front of the Indy Alliance car? He's got about 8 seconds in hand over Brashear. I don't know that if there's damage to it, he's going to be able to hunt down Logan Edwards, but he's definitely going to want to keep that podium spot over Brashear. And all that means is that there is now no challenge to Hunter Engrav, the road racing ace out of the Rogue Racing stable, has a 21-second lead and climbing 0.8 of a second quicker than Logan Edwards that last time through. It's worth noting that Rashad Craig 0.4 quicker than Edwards the last time through as well. So it doesn't appear as though the Indy Alliance machine was affected by that contact. All may have been forgiven there, but definitely not forgiven for Alan Brito. He sits on the pit lane now 2.5 minutes and counting.
Yeah, tough break for Brito very late in the stages here with only a handful of laps to go. That's always the hardest part, is you make it all this way and it could always go wrong in the closing stages.
You know, it most certainly can. We're inside of 10 laps to go, working lap 51 of 60. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here at P1. You're watching the Indy Open Top Split. Mark Murphy and Jacob Collins with you. Immediately following this, we'll have interviews for the top three, and then Jacob is going to come right back here for the nightcap 9 o'clock, it's going to be the Indy Next Open Top Split live from this very track here at Barber. Of course, tomorrow we've got the flagship broadcast. It is the Indy Fixed Oval Series from Kansas, and then one more time, Jacob will at 7:15, and then Eastern, and then Jacob will bring it back at 8:30 for the Indy Next machines. There will be no additional racing this week. It is the holiday season, and you'll note that that other than the officials, the Hoosier 500 practice and qualifying that's coming up, this is going to be a pretty light This is going to be a pretty light 6 weeks for the league action. In 2026, you're going to see the Internet Sim Racing Association, the ISRA IR18s. They're going to come back on Monday nights. We have what we think a pretty cool announcement coming for Tuesday for the league environment. Wednesday nights, of course, the Horizon INDYCAR Series and the Formula Indy Series both will return. Formula Indy does have a couple of races on Wednesdays in December, but none that will conflict with Christmas. Beginning in February, you'll have Thursday and Friday stock car action with the American Motorsports Association. And Jacob, this Thursday, we've got the Indy Next Pro Qualifier finale. And
next Thursday. And aren't we looking forward to that? They're going to take Thanksgiving off, but that's going to be a dandy. Iowa Speedway.
They're on the oval, and I don't know that there is a better oval for those cars than Iowa. It is a mix of a short track and a super speedway both. It is a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see that. The first ever Indy Next oval top split took place from Iowa Speedway. I was in that race. I managed to run perfectly, Jacob. I finished fourth. That meant I got a good finish. I gained some iRating, and I didn't have to show up and do any media at the end.
You know, I'm gonna counter argument that, and I think that either the proper Phoenix or Milwaukee might be a better track for next, given what I've got in terms of the data or the notes.
It could, of course. That race was fixed setup, and you never know in an open setup environment how much those cars can be trimmed and what kind of speeds they're capable of turning. It's worth noting Hunter Engrav is out to a 23-second lead. We're going to switch back because objects in Logan Edwards' mirror may be, Jacob, closer than they appear. Rashad Craig has now chopped it down to 1.7 seconds. That was 3 seconds at one point. Rashad Craig, 0.8 quicker that last time through than Logan Edwards in the Luke Mansky car. The Indy Alliance machine, the defending champion, he's going to get to wear that crown one more week. Rashad Craig is coming.
Yeah, that pace has not gone away on that IAR machine at all. He's running sub-minute 8s pretty much every lap. Minute 7.633 that last time by. He's just taking huge chunks out of the gap of Edwards ahead. He's chomping at the bit, wanting to get that middle step on the podium, or the left step on the podium back to him.
He is, and he's pulled out now 10 seconds over Caleb Brashear in the second Luke Mansky car. So Rashad Craig is coming. He's helped by the fact that you've got lap traffic in front of him. That's Thomas Van Kirk. It's interesting to note, we were talking about Tyler Langenberg and his to not just creep up on Logan Edwards. He's taken a hatchet to that gap. At one point, it had been 0.7 before the lap car got himself in between of Edwards and Craig. We're going to see a battle for second before this is all over with. More lap traffic now going off behind Logan Edwards. Rashad Craig will get through. And there's Rashad. But that cost Rashad a lot of time, Jacob. That advantage now for Logan Edwards back to 1.2 seconds. Edwards half a second faster that last lap as they navigated traffic. And we're down to 5 laps to go.
Yeah, I think if we're going to get that battle, it's going to be they're going to get close to each other. But again, I think the biggest thing is going to be where can that pass be made, especially at this stage, very, very late in the race.
You know, most certainly so. And you got to remember lap traffic. That's going to be the thing. If the lappers have been moving out of the way of the leaders for the most part, cognizant of the battle that's happening, up front. But here's the thing. They're going to catch guys that are in a battle for their own position. Anthony Heitzman and Ty Keela, they're fighting for 10th and 11th. You've got Gerald Burrell and Tyler Langenberg. That's a dispute over 7th and 8th, as Gerald Burrell has some connection issues, and you see him flash back and forth. But ultimately, you're going to be catching guys that are fighting for position, and with 4 laps to go, they may have been courteous earlier. They're not going to move over now if they're in that fight for position with 4 laps to go.
No, and that just makes the situation that much more difficult to make those passes for these guys running near the front of the field. If you've got a guy trying to make a pass for position further down the field that's maybe a bit slower ahead of you, what's that to say that you're going to be able to make the pass from the car ahead of you that you're trying to chase down?
Is indeed 0.6 of a second now the gap. Rashad Craig 107.9, Logan Edwards 108.5 the last time through. So the gap is closing, and it's going to be non-existent here in just a moment. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here at P1. Again, if you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. This is kind of the lull, just tonight and tomorrow this week for the Top Split Indy Open and Indy Next Road tonight. Indy Oval Fix 7:15. Indy Next Oval tomorrow night starting at 7:15 and then 8:30 for the nightcap. When we come back, we're going to have the Formula Indy Series December the 3rd. They're going to be on Wednesday at 8:20. And then beginning in 2026, man, the calendar starts, Jacob. The official races continue on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to add the Internet Sim Racing Association. That ISRA is going to come back Monday nights as the late night race. We hope to have a special announcement for Tuesday night for an end of evening show. On Wednesday, the Horizon INDYCAR Series is going to return. Thursday, you've got the AMA, the Stock Car Series, Grand National Cars Thursday, along with the Trucks, their Premier Series on Friday. Votive is going to be back on Sunday nights. It's going to be a ton of iRacing and a ton of fun here on P1 in 2026. Logan Edwards, I don't know if that's a ton of fun, but he has got to hold off Rashad Craig for 2 more circuits here.
Yeah, basically identical lap times that time by for both cars. It's basically going to come down to who can get through the traffic ahead and manage these last 2 laps to perfection.
It is. You saw Rashad Craig take a much tighter line through turn 3 there. You've got the lap car. The lapper is going to get out of the way through turn 5. Edwards seems to take a tighter line. He loses ground in the corner, but he's able to get a much bigger shot off. Alan Berteau will let P2 and P3 through. Great sportsmanship from Berteau. Rashad Craig, though, looking for any advantage he can get over Logan Edwards. It is worth mentioning Rashad Craig's got 30. He's got about twice as much push to pass here as Logan Edwards. 16 seconds for Edwards, 30 seconds for Craig. As we head down to start what will be the final lap, Jacob.
Now, one more circuit around. Only so many more opportunities for Craig to make this pass for the second spot.
14, 15, final straightaway. Barney's got the green flag in the air. This is the battle for second. Hunter Engrave is on cruise control, 26 seconds in front of this battle, but it is the battle for second. Rashad Craig is going to get alongside Logan Edwards going through turn 3. There's 4. We're headed toward turn 5. It's going to be Edwards with the advantage. Rashad Craig is going to try to pull the switchback, Jacob.
Yeah, he's going to try to look to the other side of Edwards down this straightaway here towards that chicane at the end of the stretch. Is there going to be side-by-side action through here?
There is not going to be. Rashad Craig backs out of it. He's got 10 seconds of push to pass. Edwards is down to 6. through 7. 8A on the straightaway, headed for turn number 9, Jacob.
It's going to be the last grand opportunity, aside from maybe a drag race to the start-finish line, where Craig's going to look to the right here.
He doesn't quite have enough. Rashad Craig will back out of it. Logan Edwards is going to have the distance as they head through 12, 13, the right-hander at 14, then left into 15. What a race between Rashad Craig and Logan Edwards for second. There they come across the line. Hunter Ingrave is your winner. Then Logan Edwards, Rashad Craig, and Caleb Brashear, Flow City. He is going to bring it home in fourth. We're waiting on him. Nadi Immel nearly a lap down, and still with the technical issues there, as Brashear is going to be fifth. And I think the last car to be flagged off, incidentally, as Unglakus comes through, Pim Van Gastel, Aaron Zizzo. The last car to be flagged off is going to be Pim Van Gastel. I was going to say it might be Nadi Immel. He was nearly a lap down, but there's Pim. He's going to bring it through. Whew. It never disappoints, does it, Jacob?
No, sir.
And so the final results from Barber Motorsports Park are these. Hunter Ingrave is going to be your winner. Logan Edwards second. Rashad Craig is going to come home in third. Caleb Brashear, Flow City, will bring it home fourth. Nadi Immel leads a lot of the early going. He is the last car on the lead lap. That's Nadi Immel finishing in the fifth spot. Milan Vogelsang, Gerald Burrell, Tyler Langenberg, Thomas Van Kirk, Ty Keela, all laps down. They are going to finish. My goodness, Jacob, I can't talk anymore. They're going to finish 6th through 10th. In 11th, Anthony Heitzma. He is the last car, 1 lap down. 2 laps down, Christian Loxon, Jao Pereira, Alan Berteau, Ryan Boyd. 12th through 15th. In 16th, Garrett Lilly, Robin Glakus, Pim Van Gastel is 18th, also 4 laps down. Anthony Zizzo is your final finisher, 5 laps in arrears, not finishing classified 20th fast. Frankie Franchica, Julio Lasso, Luis Velasquez, and Chris Thompson are the remaining entrants, and they did not finish, Jacob. It's going to take me a minute to catch my breath, brother.
Long race.
A lot of fun, though. Ton of fun. We're going to get the results out of here, and we're going to get some driver interviews queued up. And let's see who we've got in the waiting room, Jacob. I see Rashad Craig. Let's bring Rashad up. Rashad, you've got Murph and you've got Jacob Collins in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you.
You hear us. So the first question we got to ask, the contact between Berteau and yourself in that fight for second, what was your vantage point of that? And can you tell us, did you get any damage? We certainly didn't see any, but was that affecting your car later on in the run?
From my view, and then from what I've seen and what Sauter told me, like, he was on cold tires and kind of went wide, and I was obviously on hotter tires, so I could take a normal line, and it looked like he was gonna defend really hard, but then cut over into me. It was still really close. Like, at that point, there was nothing I could have done besides, like, get on the brakes really hard, and that would have spun me, so. I didn't get any damage. I always like to say this car is either a tank or paper, and today I got the tank, so kind of happy about that, and was able to give Logan a fight at the end.
There you go. Jacob, what have you got for Rashad this evening?
Yeah, it kind of looked like a game of strategy leapfrog, more or less, past about the top, two or three cars near the front of the field. Do you feel like that there was any potential options for you to maybe have tried something different earlier on in the race, maybe run a black stint in the middle to try to eke yourself out one way or another, or is the strategy you ran what you would have done pretty much any way that you slice it?
The strategy I ran was like super fluid. It was more about like trying to get some undercuts, avoid traffic, that sort of thing. To just start it on the primes, it would have not been good to do another prime stint. Um, just if you can make them hold on, the alts are the preferred tires. I think probably the only thing I could have changed was maybe go a little bit longer on the initial prime stint. I just thought I would run into traffic, and they didn't get held up as much as I thought they would. So, besides that, I just ran the race as I thought I should.
Well, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us, Rashad. You had a great run this evening on the podium. Alan Berteau ran into some trouble. Any thoughts of a huge week next week in Indianapolis and maybe having a shot to defend the championship? A last gasp. You should move in, by my count, into the top 3 in the points.
I'm not too sure. Like, I haven't been paying attention to it too much. Like, last season was more me not paying attention till like I was really in the hunt here. This season I've been more just like having fun doing a bunch of different stuff. So if it happens, it happens. Just gonna run the best race I can and just try to have fun, really.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Rashad, thank you so much for joining us. Great run tonight. You beat the car number, and that's always the important part. So congratulations on that. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours, my man. Go for it.
I'd like to thank friends and family for supporting me in the hobby. Cozy Threads once again. A little bit warmer day today, so I didn't need it as much, the hand warmers as much, but yeah, always thankful to have those. And thanks to you guys for broadcasting once again.
Absolutely, you'll be pleased to note I went on a 3-day weekend with my kids, and they picked up a adult size Stitch onesie for me to wear.
Oh God, I need to see pictures of that, man.
maybe we'll get that going. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So you keep talking about Cozy Threads. That was their idea of fun. They made me dress up in a Stitch onesie on Saturday.
You gotta use that for the headshot.
Keep going fast and fun, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. That is defending series champion Rashad Craig. He'll come home third tonight. For second, we've got the old narc brain. It's Logan Edwards. Logan, you've got Murph, you've got Collins in the P1 broadcasting booth. The contact giveth, the contact taketh away. In your case, that was in reverse. You kind of got knocked out of a podium spot due to some contact, and then you got knocked right back in. Tell us your vantage point of both of those incidents, and overall, just kind of rate your day, man.
Well, I was really confused. Like, I was kind of bewildered at the whole situation because I was as far back as 5th on pace and track position after spinning on my outlap, losing 3 places. And after that, I thought it would just be survive, hope that a mistake happens. And then whenever a mistake did happen, I ended up getting shoved off the track from it. And I just kind of rolled around, not expecting to end up back in second. I haven't looked at what happened to Rashad and Allen, but it was fortunate for me. Overall, the day was fun. I had a lot of fun. It makes me wish the IAS was here already.
There you go, Jacob.
Yeah, we were kind of talking a bit of the cascade of third on back was very, very tight throughout the night, and it felt like it was basically going to come down to who could get the stars to align on the final stint, and it seemed like that was the case for you. Do you feel like there might have been more of a fight had there been maybe a chance for Rashad to have gotten closer through the traffic, or was the potential for passing kind of at an end by the time the closing stages came around?
I think the potential for passing was at an end. If it was a little hotter, the tire difference probably would have been enough, because I still felt like I was struggling, even though the percentages were relatively good. This is a track that is red favored, but still wears him down.
There you go. It was an interesting day weather-wise for sure here in the sim at Barber. The the interview pictures have a very foggy tint to them, and so we had thought it might rain. It did not do that, but it was definitely cool out there, and that definitely contributed to some fast speeds and the alternate tires being the preferred way to go. As it was through a couple of different. That guy's fast in whatever he touches, man. Logan Edwards. So you've got 2 in a row. Talk to us about the battle with Emil, and then
For a little mistake. Turn 2, he would push a little wide, but nothing much. I just kind of sat and waited my turn. I was just trying to save a little fuel behind him, and then hopefully when he pitted, I'd be able to jump him in the pits, which I luckily did. And then, yeah, after that, it was kind of just smooth sailing. Yeah, no, the car felt really good. Just rotate, just had to take my time in traffic. There was one moment that I did a little sketchy moment. I should have been a little more patient in the traffic, but I just wanted to kind of keep moving, keep the gap, but it cost me more time than if I would have just waited. But yeah, no, it was overall just don't mess up.
there you go. Mr. Collins, what do you have for Hunter this evening?
Yeah, you kind of mentioned the don't mess up and some of the mistakes coming through the field on traffic. Kind of walk us through how you go about managing that, and especially in situations where you've got lap cars that are maybe moving around a bit more unpredictably at a slower pace. You're not quite sure if you're going to be able to just squeeze on by them really fast, or if you've got to kind of wait around and get a clear opportunity.
Yeah, a lot of them were fairly nice tonight that kind of just moved over, didn't want to kind of held up anybody, which was really nice. But the few that did fight, yeah, just kind of trying to show your nose that you're going to try to pass and everything, or you just wait till kind of a long straightaway and you use the push to pass to kind of get by them. But overall, traffic wasn't unpredictable horribly. It was almost pretty good for, I would say, a Monday night single split.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for your time, Hunter. You're getting to be an old hand at this, my friend. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
My mom and dad first for always watching these and everything. You guys for always doing a phenomenal job at broadcasting. Seb, Rashad, and Blaze for always making phenomenal subs every single week. It was a rocket tonight, so definitely massive shout out to them guys and Rogue Racing and also everybody else on the Alliance group. Everybody's just really awesome, and yeah.
There you go, Hunter. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. Congratulations on your second win in a row. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. That is Hunter Ingrav. He is the winner this evening at Barber Motorsports Park. And Jacob, you know, we're headed off into the holidays. I would not anticipate that we're going to see many races at this track this week go official, except for that Saturday European split that comes along about, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock?
I think they've also got one next Monday as well.
They also run one next Monday. And so there are really only a couple of opportunities. Those races are going to be huge for Alain Berteau, because Alain Berteau provisionally has lost the points lead to Logan Edwards. He has provisionally lost the points lead to the Luke Mansky cars of Brashear and Edwards. And so that's a huge development from tonight, is that Alain Berteau may be heading out of Monday night provisionally in second or third place in the points. Rashad Craig, of course, has a huge night, and so Rashad gets to be in an enviable position of going to Indianapolis with a rocket ship. And we know that race at Indy is going to be one of the most well-attended of the year. Traditionally, Indianapolis is held right around Thanksgiving in the sim, and this year it's the week after. And so look forward to that Monday night race next week being an absolute barn burner, Jacob.
I mean, didn't Caleb just come off a win at Indianapolis in the Tuesday night top split a couple weeks ago? I think he might have a shot to do it again.
You know, he did. In that race, my goodness sakes, it's been seen by, 30,000 people or something like that. Went viral on iRacing's website. Brashear, if you recall, fans, just to kind of set up what you might be looking at next week, Caleb Brashear went down the backstretch on the final lap in third place behind Jesper Orman and Seb Alexander, two of the very best in the business, and wound up winning the race winning a drag race up the middle 3 wide as they finished in what could only be described as a show-stopping move, Jacob. That was pretty incredible, and so we look forward to seeing that. And we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night for the Indy Oval Top Split. That's going to happen at 7:15, followed immediately thereafter by the Indy Next Race at 8:30. Both of those are from Kansas. Jacob, of course, will have the nightcap tonight. That's going to be at 9 o'clock over on the sister channel. The Indy Next Cars will be back here at Barber. There are no further league races this week and no Indy Pro Qualifier this week. It is Thanksgiving after all. Next week, we'll be back at this time, 7 o'clock, for the final round of the IndyCar Open Top Split. That'll be live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jacob, of course, will have the nightcap at 9 o'clock with the Indy Next machines. Next week will also be the championship. Will also be Championship Tuesday for the Indy Oval Fixed Series. The Indy Next Cars will have that. Formula Indy Series will return a week from Wednesday. That's at 8:20. And then beginning in 2026, we're going to have the full slate for you. Open Top Split, Next Top Split, Internet Sim Racing Association, ISRA Action, all live on Monday. The Tuesday Top Splits on Tuesday, plus maybe a big announcement for Tuesday night. Wednesday, the Horizon INDYCAR Series, the Formula Indy Series. Thursday, Friday is going to be the AMA, the American Motorsports Association Stock Car Series. We're happy to have them all here on P1. We're happy to have all of the fans, all of the drivers, all of the comments, man. We had an awesome comment section tonight, and we want to thank you all for that. But we also want to thank the people that really make it happen: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs that drive you to the hospital, and Jacob, the nurses that unload you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all, and we will see you next week.